Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, Namaskar to everyone. Today we are going to talk about jealousy. Our title is Jealousy Doesn't Help, It Only Hurts. Jealousy is such an impulse or feeling. As we all know, it arises when we see someone going ahead of us, when someone is more successful, more prosperous. In any field, when we see that someone is ahead of us, then it creates a sense of pain, burning, and it creates unhappiness in us. We can't bear somebody being more successful than us. An intolerance is created in us. This feeling is called jealousy. Let me tell you at the outset that even though we find this emotion, or rather impulse, in perhaps everyone, barring wise people, but it is such a thing which doesn't help a person in any way. It only hurts, and it is a path of self-destruction. There is nothing but unhappiness in this. And it happens many times that this feeling or this samskara is there right from the childhood. Sometimes we see that when children see other children coming first, receiving prizes and awards, it automatically creates this envy and jealousy in them. That is because they see that the society, the teachers, people around valuing this person getting award, getting prizes, and he himself is not getting it. So right from the childhood, this belief system gets ingrained in him that success is something more valuable, and it is something which is great in people's eyes, and that is why I must have it. Those who are having it are respected, they are loved by people, and I don't have it. So automatically a complex, an inferiority complex is created in the child. And right from the childhood, he values that I must also have the same kind of success. And slowly what happens when he finds others getting it, and he being deprived of that, slowly this feeling of envy, this feeling of jealousy gets created. It is okay when he is a child, but this continues when he grows up. When he grows up, then also when he finds that others are having more, then immediately he doesn't like that person. A dislike is created in him for that person who is having, without any fault of that person, merely because that person is having more and he himself is not having that, say, wealth, name, fame, marks, degree, sometimes beauty, so many things, It can occur in anything. Later on, when one is progressing in one's career, profession, etc., everywhere, one tends to carry this samskara. And slowly a groove is formed. Moment somebody is ahead of you, you also covet that. You also want the same thing. Maybe it is a person, maybe it is a position, maybe it is prosperity, maybe it is wealth, name, fame, beauty, whatever. Moment you don't get it and others are getting it, it is quite possible that that other person may be your close friend, maybe your partner, maybe someone whom you know very closely, and still you begin to dislike that person. You cannot stand that person. Why? Because it triggers the sense that I don't have it. So actually the problem is that I don't have it. Problem is that I lack in that. I am limited in that respect. It is my limitation, my inadequacy, my incompleteness, which became evident when other person is getting it. So when other person is getting something, what happens? That my incompleteness in that respect becomes evident. And that is what I cannot face. And that is what I cannot stand. And the consequence is that I do not like that person. Why? Because he is having it and I am not having it. Basically, I have problem with myself. I cannot see myself incompleteness. I cannot see myself being incomplete in certain respects. And when others have it, then it triggers this impulse called jealousy. It is also known as envy. Shakespeare, the English dramatist, very well called it green-eyed monster. In his play called Othello, Shakespeare describes this jealousy as green-eyed monster. Because when it consumes you, when this feeling consumes you, then one becomes like a monster. Because then you cannot stand the other person who is having it, who is having that quality or that thing or that person or whatever which you covet. You also want it and you do not have it. That is why you feel cheated. Sometimes one goes to the extent of saying or feeling that I deserved it more than them. People have been unfair to me. Ishvara has been unfair to me. Destiny has been unfair to me. And this slowly, creates so much of negative feeling in him for himself plus for the person who is having it. So, this jealousy then slowly becomes a part of the personality. The samskaras are there. Sometimes person carry it from the past birth. When we see this in children when they are of 7, 8, 9 years old and even lesser than that, we see this trait in them. When the other child gets more attention from parents, from relatives, then this child is jealous of that. This shows that he is carrying forward this samskara of the past birth. In the past birth, in that body, in that costume of the past birth, he had it. He or she had it, but did not resolve it, was not mature enough in that costume to get rid of this. And so it has come again in this costume along with him. And when the situations place him in a certain way where others are going ahead of him, then this is triggered. And it continues to bother him now also. It continues to bother. And then when the person is consumed by this, what happens? He always nurtures the desire to go ahead of the other person, because that person creates a feeling of insecurity in him. There is fear, there is anxiety, there is insecurity in him, which is created by the success of the other person. The success of X has created this insecurity in Y, in this person. He cannot stand it. He has to do something about it. And so now what becomes the goal for this person? Now his goal is to go ahead of him, to compete with him, to compete with X, so that he feels good about himself. At the end of the day, he wants to feel good about himself. He wants that self-esteem in his own eyes. But today he doesn't have it. Why? Because others are having more. Others are respected more. Others are loved more. Others are more popular. Others are respected more, valued more, getting more attention. And I am not having it. And so my hatred turns towards that person. Why he is getting it, why he or she is having it. So without sometimes any interaction between these two, there is dislike and hatred created between each other, because this person is consumed by that negative feeling for that other person, and he inadvertently sends those negative vibrations that I am jealous. It gets communicated, and then what happens? That other person also feels that, and he also, without any evident reason which is shown by this person, begins to dislike. So what I am trying to say is that the relations are relations between these two persons are already not good. This is what jealousy does. And the person having this feeling, as I said, is not happy at all, is just not happy. He is constantly in tension because there is one thing by which he is consumed. I want to be ahead of him. I want to be at par with him. I want to have what others are having. And this very feeling, actually takes away all his efficiency. See, the irony is, moment he feels jealous of that other person. Let us say there are two students in the field of engineering. Both of them are studying together, and one of the student is going ahead, getting very good marks, and this person is not having that. And now he has already created this jealousy for that other person. He wants to now have the same kind of marks, same achievement which other person is having. And so what? But now this feeling of jealousy has overtaken him so much that in that bent of mind, really what happens is, it takes away, it saps all his efficiency, all his energy, all his capacities. So actually he himself, because of this emotion, because of this jealousy, he can't execute himself well. He can't perform well. Why? Because in one corner of his mind, what has happened? This jealousy his mind is consumed by that jealousy, and that has taken away his happiness. That has taken away his peace of mind, and it is also eating away his talent, his efficiency, his energy, his enthusiasm. And that is why, in spite of working perhaps hard, he still remains behind that person. Because this feeling of jealousy depletes all his energy, depletes all his efficiency. So actually what happens is, he remains behind only. His goal of going ahead perhaps will not be successful. And even if, let us grant that he works very hard and goes ahead of that person. Supposing, even if he goes ahead of that person, what will happen? He has now gone ahead of that person. But will there not be another person in different walks of life who are again much ahead of him? Yes, there will always be someone or the other who are better than you, who are ahead of you, who are more talented, who have more qualifications. So now again, the samskara of jealousy which was already there, again is aroused, again takes hold of you. And so now you want to be ahead of this other person. Because you can't, because your ego is such, your insecurity is such that you want to be ahead of this one also. In short, now you want to be ahead of others, whoever they may be. And the irony of life is such that there will always be always but always there will be people who are ahead of you. You cannot be the best. You may be best in one field, but even in that field, there are all the chances that there will be more talented people. And then what will happen? You will continue in this race. Your race will continue. Your competition will continue. You will continue to compete with someone or the other. Because human beings always tend to compare. They tend to compare themselves with others. And in comparison, you will find that others are having more. And so now you are jealous of them. You can't stand it because you feel, I don't have it. And then you begin to work. But the pushing force is to be ahead of them. It is this sense of competition which makes you work hard to go ahead of them. There is no end to this. Let me tell you, there is absolutely no end to this. What kind of life is this? What kind of life is this? It is nothing but struggle, tension, stress. You can't enjoy life. You can't enjoy what you are doing. Supposing there is a person who you are also singing, you have a good voice and you are singing, and there is another person who also sings and has a better voice, better training, good voice quality. So, earlier you enjoyed your singing, but now the focus is changed. You want to be better than that person. In that process, you stop enjoy singing. Singing doesn't remain a matter of joy. Now it becomes a matter of competition. I want to be ahead of them. I want to be considered better than them. This takes away all happiness from life. This takes away all peace from life, because here there is nothing but competition. There is nothing but jealousy. And the sense of ego is so much that you are not ready to see that others can be ahead of you. You forget that people are different. People have come with their own samskaras. People have different talents. They are made differently. Somebody has this talent, others have this talent. Everybody has unique talents in them, unique capacities in them. How can you expect that you only will be best? I should be the best in whatever I do. Then this becomes the nature of the person, that they will be, because the samskara is there, and because of constantly nurturing that, what has happened? A groove is formed. So mind will flow only in that channel. So wherever you go, you carry these samskaras along with you, wherever you go. And that is why we see that the person was in school, was having this samskara of jealousy. He was jealous of other students and tried always to compete with them. Then he went to college, the same thing. Then he took up a career, same thing. He can't see others getting promotion, others going ahead of them, others being respected, others being appreciated. Always jealous, jealous, jealous. Then remember, these samskaras are getting more stronger and stronger and stronger. And more weak the person is internally, less evolved the person is, more will be this jealousy. Less maturity. If the person is not that mature enough to understand the facts of life, that people are different. Everybody is coming from different background, everybody's past lives have been different. People have different upbringing, different talents, different capacities. They are bound to be different. Ishvara has created them that way. How will it ever be possible that you only will be the best? But this understanding doesn't come if the person is not that spiritually evolved. If the person is not mature enough, then he will have more of all this. And more the person is mature, more evolved, internally strong, then less this kind of feeling. And more he understands, a time will come when this kind of things will never bother them. Otherwise, as I said, this samskaras get strong, these tendencies, samskaras means these tendencies, they become stronger and stronger day by day. You are aging, you are growing in your age, from childhood to adolescence to youth, now a young man, then a middle-aged, then old, but these samskaras don't go. It will be taken along with you in your other birth. If you don't do anything about this, we see this even among partners, even among husband and wife. This jealousy is there in certain aspect. If both are in good profession, both are earning very well, then if somebody goes ahead, if wife is ahead of the husband, it is quite possible, and we have seen this, that husband cannot stand it. If both are doctors and one is doing very well, other one is not doing that well, and if they are not mature enough, then even in this relationship of spouses, of husband and wife, even there this will enter, this will manifest, and life will become a hell. Happiness will not be, it will just go out of the window. This relationship cannot flourish because what has come in between them? Jealousy. For some or the other reason, it can happen in anything. If this comes, then relationship will break. If not break, it will not be a happy one. You will not remain stable. Your mind will not be stable. And when that you don't enjoy that stability, whatever you do, you are trying to go ahead, but you cannot. Because your performance, your capacity will be affected. When you are not happy, what you do will not be good enough. So what should we do? That doesn't mean that we cannot work with ourselves. Yes, we work with ourselves, but what should be our goal? That I have to, if I want to achieve something in life, it will be with reference to myself. Not keeping others in mind, that they are ahead, I want to go ahead of them. No, not that way. I have to increase my capacities for myself. I have to increase my strength, and I have to compete with my own capacity. Yes, I increase my capacity. So far I knew this much, I could do this much, and now my goal is to do little better. Still do better. Still do better. Very, very good. But here the goal is different. The goal is not to go ahead of others, but to increase my own capacity, develop my own skills, which you can very well do. You can develop your skills. You can increase your efficiency, capacities, whatever you have brought with yourself. Work upon that, but not with the intention of competing with others, comparing with others, and keeping the goal that I must be ahead of them. No, that will deplete you. That will sap your energy. That will sap your enthusiasm. In fact, you will go behind. Rather than that, you have to work against your own skills, against your own capacity, that so far I reached up to this point, now I have to reach up to this point. Gradually proceed in life, develop, do that. That is very much welcome. We are not saying don't do that. Please do that. Life is meant for that. Keep on evolving, 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 but not going ahead of others. Not because I am jealous of them. No. And we should always keep in mind that there are so many different people in this creation. Everybody is made differently. There are people who have more than me. That is beautiful. I congratulate them for their capacity. I be happy in their talents. I am happy to see them more talented. And if I have to learn from them, I happily learn from them, take tips from them, and develop my skill. But not being envious of them. I do whatever is to be done with me, but with a happy state of mind, remaining stable. Then I will enjoy this life. Then I will happily work with myself. Otherwise, this jealousy will destroy me. It is such a poison. It is such a poison which will make my life a hell. It will completely destroy me. Life is not meant for that. And let me tell you that if we know that my reality is Atma, my reality is the self and not this body, then I will come to know that in reality I am the self, I am not this body. What does it matter if body has certain qualities and doesn't have them? Even if it has, I am not it. I am not that. Even if it doesn't have, I am not that. I am Atma. I am the self. So see, when you don't know this and you are totally identified with the body-mind complex, then its capacities becomes yours and its limitations also becomes yours, because you are totally identified with it. But in reality, you are the self. You are Satchidananda Atma. Body is just a costume, just an instrument given to you. If you know that you are Atma, there is nothing wrong in developing the qualities of the body. making this instrument more and more refined. There is nothing wrong in that, but remembering that I am not that. This one has to tell oneself, and it is a fact. Plus, always remind yourself that I have to work for developing my own skills, and gradually I keep doing that. I constantly remind myself that. Plus, I tell myself that whenever I see somebody ahead of me, I have to congratulate them in my own mind, if not go and tell them. In my own mind, I every day tell myself that Ishvara has given them that capacity. Thank you. I am happy to see that. I am happy in their happiness. Once we orient our mind in that manner, then slowly mind will begin to see that. We have to teach the mind to see this. It is all about teaching the mind a new language. Language of being happy in others' happiness. We are happy with what they have. That doesn't mean I am behind them. And there is no question of they being ahead and I am being behind. No. We are both working with our own capacities. There is no question of a race. If it is a race, then finished. I have to come first. And in trying to come first, my life will be nothing but a stress. There will be nothing but stress and tension constantly. All the enjoyment and happiness and peace will be destroyed. So, I keep on telling myself this, that I am happy with their progress. I am happy to see them going ahead in life. Very beautiful. If I have to learn something from that, I do learn. And then gradually work upon my capacity, not to go ahead of them, not out of the sense of comparison and competition, no, but working upon my capacity and appreciating that after all, everything is Ishvara. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Everything that we see in this creation is Ishvara. Lord Krishna categorically says in Bhagavad Gita, Yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimadurjita mevava tatta devava gachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. He says, wherever you see any glory, wherever you see any beauty, wherever you see anything beautiful, anything divine, understand that it is my glory. It is I who is manifesting in the form of that beauty, that glory. So, when we see that in others, it is nothing but Ishvara blossoming in that way. It is Ishvara's glory. We bow down to that. We enjoy that. We salute that, rather than seeing it with the green eye. Rather than being envious of that, we salute that and see Ishvara in that. This will totally change our relations. This will totally change our perception of life. Life will become nothing but happiness. It is a journey of happiness if I change my perspective. After all, life is meant for that. It is not meant for being unhappy and constantly being envious of others, what happiness is there? Nothing. So I change my perspective. And in this way, I get rid of this jealousy, because so long as I am consumed by that, it will do nothing but hurt me through and through. It will destroy my mind, and it will sooner or later affect my health. First it is here, then it will go to the body also. And it will destroy our vibrations. The thoughts which we carry along with us will be felt, will get communicated. So if I am having that thoughts, negative thoughts of jealousy, do you think it will not get communicated elsewhere? Will it not get communicated to the person for whom I am feeling that? It will definitely get. And that will take us apart. And so, when we change our perspective, our vibes will change, our energy will change, and our relations will also change. It is bound to change. So, we work with this emotion and get rid of it. Jealousy only hurts. It creates a burning sensation here when I see somebody going ahead. We have to change that and be happy in others' progress, in others' success. In this manner, we get rid of jealousy. We cure jealousy. Rather than competing, rather than comparing, we cooperate with others. We cooperate. We congratulate them. This will create good karmas for us. Otherwise, do you know that when out of jealousy we do wrong things, we nurture wrong thoughts, wrong karmas are also getting accumulated. In that when we are consumed by jealousy, we compromise with our values, we compromise with our principles, we compromise with our ethics. And what will be the consequence? Consequence will be wrong karmas in our account. And we will have to face them sooner or later, in the next birth or in this birth. It will nothing but result in unhappiness. So as I said, jealousy hurts through and through. If we are already having that emotion, we work upon that and get rid of it once and for all. This is what we wanted to communicate. Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.